Hello, dear participants, and welcome to this eTwinning webinar offered by the European School Education Platform and eTwinning. Today's session is entitled eTwinning Stories 10, and as you might already be familiar with the format, this is a series of online events aimed to spotlight the voices from the community, to bring you the experiences of educators from the eTwinning community, their insights, their tips for other teachers, and insights from their projects. Today, you will get to hear about one of the runners-up project of the eTwinning European Prizes 2024. We're talking about Let's Podcast, runner-up of the 12-15 category. Age-old category, as you can see now in the cover slide of this presentation. And you will discover the story of the teachers behind this project. I have the honor to introduce you to our guest speakers of today, Magdalena Brodzinska and Izabela Paradowska, who will tell you more about the projects, about their personal stories as teachers, and will share with you some tips, challenges they've encountered, and some resources that you can note down and that can inspire your teaching practice. Before leaving the floor to Magdalena and Isabella, I would like just to remind you that this session is recorded and that the recording will be published on our official YouTube channel as of the next days and will be also available for you to catch up. It will be uploaded on a specific page of the annual theme group that I will post later in the chat. So you will be able to share with colleagues, to rewatch the video if you missed anything. And a second reminder is to please feel free to use the chat throughout the whole course of the session. If you have any question, curiosity, or any thought you would like to share with our speaker, I'll be here monitoring the chat, reading your question and noting them down. And if there is any space and time at the end of the webinar, I'm sure that Magdalena and Isabella will be happy to try to address your questions. Great. So I think now we are officially ready to start. So I will, without further ado, I will leave the floor to Magdalena and Isabella for their eTwinning stories.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Magda Wrodzińska, and I would like to start by introducing myself. I am an English teacher, an Italian teacher in Poland, Gorzów Wielkopolski. I have been eTwinner for 10 years now, and this is my colleague Izabela Paradowska.
Hello, I'm Izabela Paradowska. I work in a small primary school in Niemiec near Gorzów Wielkopolski. I'm an English teacher. I have been learning for over 20 years. I started my adventure with eTwinning project 3 years ago, and Let's Podcast was my second project.
So here you can see our friends, dear friends from the project Let's Podcast. This is the project that allowed us to be here and share our experience with you, because we both and probably all our partners think that it was a great project. So I will start by saying that I've worked with Isidoro Cayuela for many years, doing many different projects, and I learned many things from him and from all of our partners. And I've known Isa from previous school where we used to work together. So we will be talking about it later on, but I think that we were both very lucky to have reliable partners throughout the project, and we could count on each other all the time, unconditionally, I have to say. So the first thing we were asked to say is where the idea of Let's Podcast came from. I'm going to show you the article that I've read during the summer holidays, actually in a hospital. So it was about using podcasts for school projects, and not only lessons and extra activities with students. You were welcome to read it in your free time, of course. It was very useful and brought this idea to make the whole eTwinning project a year with eTwinning project with podcasts. Because personally, I like listening to podcasts. They're very useful, easy to use. You can listen to them inside the school, outside the school, in your free time, during the lessons. You can download them. So they're very reachable. And as we found out, they're possible to make at school. And after the holidays, we all agreed that we can use podcasts to teach our students many things, or they can learn by themselves many things thanks to the podcasts. Because as we found out throughout the project, that was our goal, but we really achieved it. Making podcasts boosts our students' creativity. They were eager to learn, to find new facts, to learn from each other, from their partners from Spain. In the classroom, we could listen to the podcast, we could write the scripts for them, and actually my students liked the best recording them. It was a great fun. So we started from choosing the topics. We let the students vote for the topics that they liked the most. And after the vote, we recorded the most wanted subjects. So they could decide from the beginning what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do, and they recorded episodes with news and interviews, news from school, but not only from our towns and our countries. And they really liked interviewing teachers and students. I think that was the part that they liked the best. They worked in international groups, so they really used real English in real life situations because they had to communicate with students from other countries, from Spain in this case, because all of our partners were from Spain, to decide what they wanted to include in the podcast. They had to decide who is going to write the script, who is going to record the question, who is going to answer to the question, and who is going to take care of putting it all together and making it sound nice. And they all created scripts, so they also worked on their writing skills, and they used a lot of different IT tools, and we're going to talk about it later on.
Okay, and what does it mean to have podcasts in the classroom? So first of all, I would like to notice that nowadays we have a generation concentrated mostly on listening. So podcasts seem to be a perfect way to reach out to them. So here we have the first advantage. To have something to listen to, they had to speak first and record something. For me, speaking is the most important skill, so once again, sounds like a perfect solution. There is also a little bit of writing, unfortunately, because the students don't want to write, but still they had to do something, but they seem not to notice it at all. Working in groups is always good, as you have to face different people, different styles of work, characters, and when it comes to IT skills, it was me who learned most, but the students had to make friends with some new tools as well. So to sum up a little bit, using podcasts gives students a chance to learn in a way they like and to work on the topics that are of their interests.
So we chose many different topics, as I said, for the podcasts. And we let students choose what they wanted to work at. And the first podcast was an introduction. So all the schools could introduce their towns, their schools, teachers. And what my students found the most enjoyable was recording, actually broadcasting the most important two most important events in our school. And they felt really like real journalists. So in this place, we wanted to let you hear our Christmas podcast, but we'll return to that at the end of the presentation. It's possible because it doesn't work from this place. I'm very sorry, but we're going to let you listen at the end. Because the second podcast was Christmas podcast, so it's just right on time for you to listen. It included information about songs, about traditions and celebrations in our countries. So students exchanged information about national dishes. They asked each other questions about how we celebrate Christmas in our countries. And it was all included in the podcast. And there were also some bonuses, songs that our students sang, traditional Polish and Spanish songs that we sing during Christmas. So we'll return to it later on. And the next podcast was about music and sports. Music podcast included exchange of students' opinion about different styles of music. They also exchanged names and songs that are popular in their countries. We actually had this lesson during which we listened to the artists that were recommended by Spanish students. And then we commented on them during the podcast. The sports podcast was really interesting too, because we were talking about the history of the Olympic Games, we were talking about unusual sports, and we even invented a sport that Spanish students tried to play. We will return to that later on because there were some extra activities connected to this podcast. And the last one was the episode about food and TV series. Our students like cooking a lot and talking about food. So they really loved sharing pictures of fast food restaurants and fast food in general that they have in the city, sometimes in very small villages where they live. So they were writing about it in open documents. And then they exchanged thoughts and recorded a very short episode about it. They also exchange recipes, but we're going to talk about cooking activities later on because extra activity for this podcast was video about cooking. And the food episode came together with TV series episode. And first, the students could talk about TV series that were very popular in their country that year. They exchanged some information about actors, about their likes and dislikes. And then it all ended up in a small cartoon that we're going to present you later on. Okay, I'm sorry, we can go back to the Christmas podcast that we promised. Let's listen to a piece of it now. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll get back to it later on because it doesn't work from this place, but we will, I promise. Okay.
Okay, so now a little bit about extra activities. So the first one was introductions of the students on Padlet. I think that it was really, really great because it was the first meeting of the students. And I have to say that my students were delighted, really. They were commenting, looking for common interests, unknown names. Yeah, they were writing, reading, and that was really perfect. In other extra activities, the students had a chance to gain some knowledge because they were searching for some information about Olympic Games, about some unusual sports, use their creativity while inventing the new sport, and who knows, maybe one day we will see it at the Olympic Stadium. And now we would like to invite you to take part in a Kahoot game. So if you want, please just scan the code and have fun.
It's about unusual sports.
Yes, it is.
So in the meanwhile, I also posted in the chat an encouragement to take part in the Kahoot game that you had in the slide. At the moment, we cannot see any slide.
I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. It was just to check if it was on purpose or.
It was just a short disturbance.
Sure, no worries.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, of course, if any participants has questions that are relevant to the topic of the session, please feel free to use the chat. I can see a question about the. Can you please put the QR again? Yes, we will. Be patient, and we will show the slide again. If there's also a code, maybe for the Kahoot, we can also post it in the chat. If you have like a.
Technical problems.
No
Really
worries. That's normal in live events. It's perfectly okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again.
we'll post soon the link or the code for the Kahoot in the chat, Alexis. Now we can see. I can see the slide.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll try another place. Okay. I'm sorry for technical problems.
For the podcast, Magdalena, if it's a solution, we can also post a link in the chat, maybe, so they can hear it. Our attendees can hear it autonomously, if you think it could be an idea.
Okay, so this is our presentation. Let's try it once again. I'm so sorry. Okay, is it working?
We don't see the presentation. We see your folder at the moment.
Again, okay. So sorry. It's all about podcasts. So
Yeah, it's very themed.
everything we included in the presentation. Okay, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. And let me know if you would like me to upload the presentation. I can do that. Would you prefer?
Let me see if it works now. If not, I will ask you to do it.
Sure, sure. No worries.
Working now.
Now I can see. I don't see it in full screen, but I see the presentation. Yes.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. Once again, it's the QR.
Perfect. So here is the QR for attendees who didn't. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, yes.
Here we are.
Could you just, Magdalena, make it a bit less big, because like that we don't see a part of the slide. So if in the zoom bar, if you just make it a bit smaller, and the zoom bar in the exact, just a bit, so we can see the full slide.
Okay.
Exactly, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. And we'll go back to our Christmas podcast very soon because it's working again. Okay, so in the meantime, for people who don't want to play, if you want to play, you're welcome. We'll go back to the slide with Christmas podcast, but because it lasts a little bit, but we wanted to cheer you up, get you into this Christmassy mood. If it's okay, can we play it now?
I think it's okay. Yeah,
well,
we can definitely do that.
Yes, okay. So here is the Christmas podcast we promised. Oh, sorry. Okay. Again, I'm so sorry. Oh, It's no. It should work now. Okay.
Hello everybody, we are here again, and today we are sharing with you different Christmas traditions. French, Polish and Spanish students have prepared some questions to learn about Christmas in each country. So let's start.
Why do you like Christmas and if not, why not?
We like Christmas because we have presents.
I like Christmas because I like to spend time with my family.
Because it's nice vibe and great songs. We can dress up the Christmas tree. We have school break. Houses have the lights. There is an advent calendar.
What's your favorite Christmas dish?
My favorite Christmas dish is beetroot soup.
I love mason.
Borscht with dumplings, poppy seed cake, gingerbread. I like it because it tastes good.
What is your favorite Christmas carol?
And all I want for Christmas is you, Mariah Carey.
I love Billy Bells.
We like the burrito sabanero.
What is your favorite activity at Christmas?
My favorite activity is decorating Christmas tree.
My favorite activity in Christmas is to make gifts.
We like open presents.
So that was a short piece of our podcast. As you can see, it was very simply made. So the questions were simple, the answers were simple, and it's not impossible to make a school podcast. And I think sounded really funny. So now we're going to talk more about extra activities for the project because they were pretty interesting. For the podcast about music, we wrote a song, and the song was written in international groups where the words were written by one group, and then the second part of the words for the song, the lyrics, were made by the other group. And my school wrote the music, composed the music, and they recorded the song. The good thing about it was that students from different classes collaborated with each other, even though they hadn't known each other before the whole project. So it helped them get to know even better, even inside their own school, and created some great friendships for later on.
When it comes to the song, I just would like to add that we were the authors of part of the lyrics, and you just can't imagine what fun it was to hear these lyrics in the song. So it was really, really nice. Okay, the next extra activity were the recipes. You know, the fact is that whatever there is about food, it's always good. Yeah, this is what Magda said before. The students love food, love talking about it, making recipes, cooking. So it was perfect once again. Each school chose the food that they wanted to present, wrote about the ingredients and how to prepare it. And then we were exchanging the recipes. So my school chose Mursin salad, proposed by Basilica. And I have to say that my students still have very funny memories, yeah, connected with cooking and flying bowls and whatever was going on there. So That was really perfect.
Yeah, we could go much. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you. Just a note. I think I don't know if you're if you're moving the slide, but we are still at slide 7, the one with the QR code. Instead, maybe. Okay, great. Now I see them as well. The exchanging recipes. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
A second. Can you tell us if it works? Song and cooking. Yes?
Yeah, now we are at the exchanging recipes and cooking video slide.
Okay.
So we made gazpacho, and yes, one of my students, a boy, said that this was the best activity ever. Okay, and now I'm going to tell you about this comic, because in our school we really love drawing comic books. So we decided to create a comic like eTwinning comic. One school invented the characters. The other school told us what they should look like. We, like my students, not me, they drew this colorful comic strip, and at the end, Spanish school recorded dialogues that there were in the comics and turned it into a small cartoon that could be watched at the end of the podcast about TV series. So we were also asked to talk about resources that we used for the project. So the first thing I told you about was this article on British Council Teaching English. I really do recommend all the websites of British Council, not only Teaching English that is made directly for the teachers. So you can find a lot of tips out there. You can find lesson plans. You can find activities that you can use in the classroom and for the project. There are also some webinars that you can watch, and there are some courses. I have never taken part in any of their courses, so I can't say if they're worthwhile taking part in, but the website is a source of information and really is very useful for every English teacher. They also
Magdalena, sorry to interrupt you. The slides are not moving, so we are still at the okay. Yeah, every time you need to reselect it because otherwise we see the previous one. Thank you.
Okay, going back to resources, so you can see British Council. Yes, the next website that they offer is British Council Learn English Teens. It's for teenagers, Learn English Kids for kids, and Learn English for adults, and I'd say young adults as well. So there you can also find a lot of activities, reading activities. You can also find different activities that help you develop your students' listening skills. But there are also some great pictures and loads of tips that you can use for your projects. I really do recommend visiting it. I also use it for my Italian lessons and projects because I just translate some of them into Italian and use the ideas for the games and ask students to make videos that look a little bit like the videos that we watch on British Council Learn English. So I really do recommend these sources. So this is like British Council Teaching English, British Council Learn English Teens, British Council Learn English Kids, and British Council Learn English. We were brainstorming with our partners about what were really the resources we used. And the problem is that we didn't use many resources that are from elsewhere, because I use a lot of knowledge acquired from my partners from the projects. I really do learn a lot of things from them. I remember that doing my first projects with Isidoro, I really learned a lot about e-safety and how to manage the pages in the project. That was always very difficult for me, how to organize the work, where to start, where to end. He also taught me that I should consult everything with my other partners and the students and decide everything together with them. And if you brainstorm the ideas, you don't really need that many resources that come from outside the project, because your partners usually have great knowledge and great experience in doing things. So they share their ideas from previous projects, from school, from other teachers that they know. And I think we were very creative to create our own activities. And it also, you can also say the same things about cooperating with students, which is like our students' knowledge of modern world is a great resource too, because even like last week, I was talking to my students because I needed some kind of app that would let me do things for the new projects I'm doing. And they came up with great apps I didn't know. So they have a lot of knowledge that we older people as me don't have, because they live in this modern world full of IT tools and great apps. And they are really willing to share it. And then I really do believe in students' creativity. And if you let them be creative and come up with their own ideas, just like the teachers that we share the ideas and exchange the ideas and then make something totally new. It was the same with our students. If you let them communicate from people from other countries, they come up with such ideas that you wouldn't have even thought about. And I think this is why this project was so special, because it included all the ideas of the students, and they could decide from the beginning what they really wanted to do, how they wanted to do. They could use their imagination and convince us that their ideas were good. And this is something that Polish schools don't really teach students, how to convince grown-ups that their ideas are good. And I think that this is something that was really special about this project. I don't know if you
I would like just to add that really doing projects with students brings the cooperation, the communication between student, teacher, like, I don't know, 3-4 levels up. Yeah, that's a perfect, it's a totally different work.
Mm-hmm. So for the IT tools that we use for this project, I have to mention Audacity, because I used it for the podcast I created. Genially, as you can see on the screen, most of the podcasts were completed in this app. We used different voice recorders, and we're going to talk about it later on. I discovered Canva, and it is an extremely useful tool. I really learned a lot during this project about Canva. I wanted to do a course about Audacity and Canva before doing this project, but actually I've learned so much inside the project that, of course, I still can do better. But it was really great learning job. We used a lot of open documents, Google Documents, and online converters, which we're going to talk about soon again.
Online converters were the discovery for me. Yeah, they are perfect. We were converting from MP3 into MP4 or just the PDF. So yeah, they're really, really useful. Okay, and now a little bit about the tips. So first of all, talk to your students. Yeah, even before starting the project, ask them about what they want to do, what the expectations are. Let them decide whether they want to take part in the project. Let them choose the tasks they will be responsible for, and it will teach them responsibility, but not only. Yeah, it will give them the feeling that they are important and that they are in charge of the classroom, of the lesson. It's like changing the rules, yeah? They decide and you listen, and they really, really like it. The second tips from us is that you should be flexible. So stick to the plan, but change if it is necessary. Be open to new ideas, especially if something does not work. What matters is the final product, not the way we achieve it. And we usually start the projects with a schedule. Yeah, October this, November that, and finally we do the November activities in January. Happens, but maybe the January stuff was done in November. So do not be afraid of the changes, but of course consult them with your partners, not to block anyone. Communicate, ask for help when you need, communicate that you have a problem, discuss with other teachers and students looking for the right solutions. And here once again, our work and the others' work, they go together, so not to block anyone. You shouldn't wait, just tell them that there is a problem and there are always solutions. And the last thing is set the rules. Set the rules that are clear and that everyone knows how to behave and what to do. And here you've got the eTwinning journalism rules that were made for our project.
Okay. Okay. Did the slide change? Or challenges?
We see still the slide with the tips, Magdalena.
Okay.
Okay, now it changed. Now it changed.
Okay, challenges. I'm sorry. Okay, I have to go back because we were too quick. Okay, so challenges. Actually, we all agreed that we didn't have many. The biggest challenge was planning, because planning in advance the whole year, because we decided to plan the whole year, is sometimes a little bit tricky, because you can plan official holidays. But then sometimes students get ill, teachers get ill, and they're absent for a little while. But if you have this good communication about which Isa was talking, then it's not a problem because you can switch between the task and help each other. Or you can wait for somebody to join in. Then holidays, especially during winter holidays. In Poland, they change every year. So sometimes the holiday season is so long that it's really difficult to make activities at the same time. So you have to plan them for longer periods. And then sometimes different agencies ask us to apply for quality labels on different dates. For example, in Spain, there is another date, and in Poland, there is another date. So finishing the activities on time is sometimes very difficult. But if you divide it well, if somebody has to finish before, then the other school can work a little bit longer. So with good communication, it works. It really does. About technical issues, the biggest technical issue for the podcast was the fact that we used our cell phones to record because they're easy and portable. But then in different cell phones, you have different recording devices. And then we came up with different formats, like MP3, MP4, whatever, and other that I really don't remember. So then we had to use online converters, and it was a little bit stressful at the beginning, especially at the beginning, and especially if the deadlines were coming close. But I think it wasn't unsurmountable. Like finally, we found the way to work it out really, really well. And then the different dates in different countries, the thing that I've already told you about. So they differ, but it's everything is doable with the right communication, not avoiding difficult subjects and discussing them both with teachers and students, I think.
Oh yes, of course.
So it's all doable, I think. Can you see our next slide?
Not yet.
So we're going to talk about what we did after we finished the project.
We still see the challenges.
Okay, so I'll just do it as I did before.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, because as a post-podcast, we decided to make this short podcast after like a year and a half after May. Yes, can you see it now?
We see now a slide with a light blue rectangular thing.
Because it's going to be a short podcast that we made last week, okay? Asking our students to tell you what they really think about international projects at school in general, okay? Especially eTwinning, but not just the podcast project, because some of our students have already left the school, so they graduated, but some of them are still there and some of them make other projects too. So if you want to hear, here it is.
Hello, my name is Iga. I took part in many of eTwinning projects. I think I'm more confident in speaking English, but also it helped me in talking in public in my native language.
Hi, I'm Natalia. Hi, I am Victoria. We took part in an international project. We drew a comic based on script.
I created a song about dinosaurs with my friends and people from Spain and played the guitar.
We also made the dishes using recipes from Spain. The project was great.
My name is Julia, and my name is Zosha. We didn't take part in Let's Podcast, but we did in other projects like movie makers, forest, and language learners. In our opinion, why the projects are literally super cool, it's because you can always improve your language skills and meet other people from different countries. But also our class can get more together and spend like more time with each other and be more organized. Yeah, and we learn not just English and Italian, but also Japanese. Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll show you the last slide, okay? Or you can see our email is just in case you want to contact us and ask us more questions. Okay. I hope the presentation was helpful and you gained something from what we said. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Magdalena and Isabella, for this great presentation, and thank you especially for having showed the final product of your work and these two podcasts, which were very interesting to hear. So that was really great to have also so many insights about how you arrived until this podcast and which topics you covered and how students interacted. We have actually a couple of questions in the chat, and since we have some minutes before the end of the session, maybe we can try to address them. So the first question, you already in part answered to that with the slide about the IT tools, but one attendee was asking which tools did you use to create podcasts? I don't know if you want to add any words or anything about that.
Okay, it was, I use Audacity most of the time. I have to say it's not that complicated. It's workable. We used a lot of different voice recorders and then, as I said, online converters. And students were really helpful in finding different online sound converters that worked really well. Genially, because as you can see, Genially is a very powerful tool when you can combine pictures and sounds together. Yes.
Okay, I can only say that IT was the most difficult for me. I was always looking for something, trying to do something, but learning, and I learned a lot from my students here. So, yeah, that was great.
Thank you very much for this answer. And we have also another question. It's about the role of the ambassadors, which maybe you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation. So an attendee is asking if did you start with your first project with eTwinning ambassadors or without? Do you think that it's necessary to start first projects with them?
Okay, so I have to admit that my first project was done with a French partner that after this project became an ambassador in France. Isidro Carihuela is a great ambassador from Spain. And honestly, it's great help because ambassadors know a lot of things that we just eTwinners have no idea about, and they help you manage the times. Um, some difficulties, like I told you, with the dates, that ambassadors know exactly when the dates are in each agency. I had to call Polish agency to ask things, and my Spanish and French partners knew it in advance because they were better informed. And they know a lot of technical issues. They know much more about e-safety, I have to admit. So they always correct us if we do something incorrectly, which was very useful. I think it's not necessary, but it's a lot of help. Yes.
I was lucky because I was invited to the project by Magda, and it was the project with Isidora. So yeah, he is a great source of knowledge, information, help, everything. So
yes.
Thank you very much. I see that also the attendees agree with you because they are posting how it can be like it can make the work easier to work with ambassadors. I don't know if you can see the chat, Magdalena and Isabella. Maybe no, while you can also stop stop sharing your screen. So maybe you can give a look at the comments since they're quite interesting.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So that's great. I asked if there are any more questions in the chat since we have few minutes. Any other question or experience or curiosity you would like to ask to our speakers? This is the moment.
Yes, please. We would like to talk to you about anything because we know what's interesting from our point of view and from the experiences that we've had in the past, but we don't know what you want. Like one of my friends said that because before we gave this presentation, I asked my friend from school what they would expect from such a presentation. We didn't have the time to tell you how to organize the project, the pages. So this is where the ambassador is very good because they are very skillful in organizing pages. They help you do it the right way, I have to admit.
We have another question. So if you met virtually all the time or anytime, sorry.
Yes. Yes. We had first we contacted by email like in the previous times because I knew my partners before, most of them, not all of them, but then I got to know the other schools, and we had this WhatsApp chat, and we contacted daily, like almost every day. And also throughout the project, we had video conferences with the teachers only and with the students. So once in a while, especially after finishing a part of activities, and then thinking of what to do in the next part of the project, we had video conferences and we noted down, we discussed the problems and the issues. Yes, yes.
yeah, the WhatsApp group was very convenient, I think, because we were able to exchange information at a moment, yeah, at work, so we could discuss with students at the same time. So it was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's like, how did you manage the process with students? I think you already said it, but like if it was easy, if you had challenges.
Okay, so the most complicated thing was dividing them into the groups. Because the groups should be international and should be between the schools. So with different numbers of students in different schools, we had to manage them really well to get the project to get the product uh, made in the way we wanted. So we had to think about the number of questions we wanted to ask, to have the right number of students asking the questions, and then the right number of students answering the questions, the right number of students recording, so they could change, not that every time the same people recorded the podcast. So yes, it's but as I said, during the video conferences, we were explaining to each other how many groups we have, how many groups we can make, work, we can, sorry for the word, but distribute the students between the groups.
Yeah, and it was quite complicated at the beginning because Magda works in a big school, so she had a lot of students. I work in a very small one, so my group was, there were 7 students only, yeah, in my group. So yeah, distributing, sharing, it was the point to discuss, yeah?
Yeah, because sometimes Isa had only one student in a group,
Yeah.
and I had 3. So for me, it was easier. And this is where the communication has to go fast. So students have to communicate between themselves. And then we have to, because always for the group, there was one teacher that was checking if everything was going fine. So, for example, if you had the group for the podcast about food, about fast food, like that was my part. So I was checking the documents and seeing if all the students answered or posted the pictures. And then I could ask the other teachers if they needed help, if we had to go slower or quicker. So always there was one group with the teacher that was supervising the work of the group. I don't know if it helped you. I hope so.
Yeah, but I took keywords, communication, yeah, and the second one, that everything is doable.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. I hope this answers your question, Alexis, and that's great to hear that you managed to overcome this challenge of the different sizes of the group, the schools, and how to arrange the different groups. So we have another comments about this kind of meetings with students. Any more questions? I see so far no more questions in the chat, so I think we can start to wrap up here the session as it's almost 5. So I would like to thank you again, Magdalena and Isabella, for sharing your knowledge, your time, and your experience with us. It was really inspiring, and you managed in 1 hour to cover really a lot of aspects of your projects, giving also the practical outcomes. So it was very interesting, and I hope that among the attendees now, that our attendees will be interested in using podcast in their teaching practice, and that this helped them start in this journey.
Okay, thank you very
I
much.
also thank our attendees. Oh, sorry, Magdalena. I also thank our attendees for having stayed with us until now and interacting with us. But I will now leave to you the final words, Magdalena and Isabella, to close this session.
So first of all, thank you for inviting us. It was a great pleasure. Sorry for the technical problems.
No worries.
I hope you understood everything we wanted to tell you.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Yeah, it was a real pleasure.
And good luck with your eTwinning projects. I'm pretty sure they're all going to be fascinating.
Great.
And Merry
Christmas, everyone.
Also, wish you happy holidays as well. And thank you all. Bye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.